Today we are going to look at fractions as division. So this is mainly thinking about story problems and how we can look at what is actually being divided and then what our answer is going to be. So we're going to first start with an example story problem here. And I want us to really focus on marking up the problem, understanding what are two items that we have, and in some case in the future, it could be more than two things that we're functioning with. So we want to note what those are and what's happening to what. So Mrs. Tatum needs to share 4 fluid ounces of red paint equally among 5 art students. How much red paint will each student get? So first I would note, what do we know? What do we have? So we have 4 fluid ounces of red paint. What's happening to this 4 fluid ounces? Well, it's being shared. We're sharing it equally among 5 art students. So knowing that 5 is students and the 4 is the fluid ounces is going to be important to identify. What we can do is we can take this story problem and think about it in many different types of expressions. So one of the first ones that seems really obvious is, well, if we're sharing something, we're dividing, right? So one of our first expressions that we'll write down is that what's being divided. Now, careful, your amount completely changes if you divide the wrong thing. And in some case, makes it sound a little creepy. Are we dividing the paint or are we dividing people? Okay, doesn't make much sense if we are breaking up people and giving it to the paint. So we are actually dividing the paint, which means we have 4, and that is being divided by 5, okay? So what our dividend is what is being divided and putting it in groups of what our divisor is. So we can write this in more than one way. What are some other ways that we can represent this division problem? Well, as we've been talking about, taking our improper fractions and making them into mixed numbers, that this division sign can also be written like a fraction. Now, you have to remember that what's being divided is on top, and what amount of groups is the denominator, the bottom, okay? So these are both 2 different expressions for this problem, both explaining what's happening. 4 is being divided by 5. Now there's more. There's more than just these 2 ways. And you might be thinking, well, that's it. That's the only thing that shows division. No, it's not this division symbol. That's a way to show your work and solve it. So nope, not that one. The other one is thinking about the inverse of the division of 5, right? So the opposite of 5 would be 1/5. So we can take every division problem and think of it as a multiplication problem. See the inverse operation? And the inverse of 5, well, if I'm taking 5 and I'm making groups of 5, how much is each group going to get of 5? It's going to get 1 of 5. So that's 1/5. So do you see how those are opposites of each other? Okay. So every division problem can also be multiplication. So what would the other one be? Well, this kind of helps you out now. If I have 4 of 1/5, I can do another expression that is 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5, because it's repeated addition. 4 groups of a fifth, right? All of them equally in the same thing, and this is where it's really interesting, is that if I make my expression as a fraction and it's not improper, that is my answer. Each person's going to get 4/5 of paint. Now, label, practicing that. Remember I said I wanted to start boxing it. How much red paint? We would not label this red paint. Go back to the numbers. It would be what? Well, it's not 4/5 of a person, students. It's the fluid ounces. And ounces would really be okay here too, but you could say fluid as well. So in this particular situation, we had 4 different expressions. So this lesson, you're going to have to figure out what expressions are possible from a story problem and be able to solve it. Let's try another one. Skipped one. What if Mrs. Tatum wants to share 8 fluid ounces of paint equally amongst 6 students, how much will each student get? Okay, well, what's being divided here? What are we talking about? We have 8 fluid ounces, we have 6 students. What's being separated? The students or the ounces of paint? Yeah, it's the ounces still. So you would have 8 divided by 6. Challenge yourself here. What would be the other expressions, do you think? How would you write those? Going back to what we just did here in the first example, what are all the different ways that we could write this, do you think? So, how'd you do? 8 over 6, right? Doing the inverse operation, an inverse number, we had 8 times what? 1/6. Now there's one more. There could be repeated addition, but there's one new one with this. Did you notice it yet? That cannot stay improper. So it could actually be one of our expressions for this would be changing this to a mixed number. So I'm going to do that here on this one. Now you could do 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 8 times, right? And instead, I'm going to just do the mixed number. So how many wholes can we get out of there? We can do 1 whole, and then there would be 2 6 left, right? So our solution is actually there than 2. 1 and 2 6 is how much each student will get. And of course, we're still talking about ounces for sharing that, okay? So this one had all the same aspects, except we now, if we have an improper fraction compared to our first one, it was ready to go. That's our answer, showing our division and our answer. This one, we need to change into an improper into mixed, okay? Let's try one more. So Jared, Monica, and Heather have 5 hallways to decorate. Ooh, hidden numbers. Again, story problems are going to be one of the focuses for this lesson. So our hidden number, I always like to circle it and then put my number that's hidden. It's going to help me see it quick when I'm thinking about what's happening in the story problem. All right, Jared, Monica, and Heather. They have 5 hallways to decorate for each for the student council. If they share the work equally, how much will each student decorate? So there's our question. How much will each student decorate? So what are our 2 things we're talking about? We're talking about we have people and we have hallways to decorate. What's being divided? Think logically here. What's being separated among people? The hallway. So 5 is being divided by 3, right? And then what's another way to write these different expressions? Maybe pause and give it a try and see how you do. So you would hopefully have the improper fraction of 5 over 3, because that fraction bar also means division. And then you would do the inverse. So it'd be 5, what? Times 1/3. And then because this is improper, another expression would be, did you make it mixed number? It would be what? 1, yeah, and 2/3. So how would you write your actual solution? This is it. It's right there. We have it. 1 and 2/3. What's the label for this one? This one's tricky. They don't really say it in the question, so we have to look back at our numbers. And what are we talking about? Okay, well, we have kids, people, students, and then we have hallways. Well, we were dividing the hallways, and we wanted to know how much of each part of the hallway they were going to decorate. So it would be hallways. So it's 1 and 2/3. And I always like to put in of a when it sounds funny like this one. So 1 and 2/3 of a hallway, because it's more than 1. So you wouldn't really, it would still sound funny, hallways. Let's check out example 4. So we have a different thinking with our fractions as division. So we have 7 bags of potting soil. She puts an equal amount of soil into 4 planters. How much potting soil does she put in each planter? Okay. The amount of potting soil in each planter will fall between what two amounts? So it's kind of like what we would think about with benchmarks. What will our answer be between? So if we kind of think about that with these problems, we could look at this and go, okay, I'm doing 5 divided by 3. My answer is going to be between 1 and 2. I'm doing 8 divided by 6. My answer is going to be between 1 and 2. This one, though, I'm doing 4 divided by 5. My answer is going to be between 0 and 1. Okay, so we kind of really have to think about the division happening here in this problem in order to really know what it could fall between. So what's being divided? We have 7 bags of potting soil, and what are we putting? We're putting the soil in 4 outdoor planters. So what's being divided, the 7 or the 4? It's the 7. 7's being divided by 4. So these bags are being distributed in these planters. So if we're doing 7 divided by 4, knowing that that is improper, we're going to at least get a whole. What is it going to be between? You could even solve this. So 7/4 equals 1 and 3/4. So we know it's between 2 and 3. That's not right. Not between 2 and 3. It's between 1 and 2. It would have had to have been 2 wholes for it to be between 2 and 3. So that's something else we'll do with our story problems, is to know what values it would be between. Another one is picking the expression. So let's check this problem out and see if we can find the correct answer for all of the possibilities. Cameron is preparing a shrimp salad for 5 friends and himself. Ooh, hidden number. That means it's actually what? 6. He makes 17 cups of shrimp salad. Okay. Which expression represents the amount of shrimp salad each person gets if they share the shrimp salad equally? So we need to circle all that apply. Okay. What is being divided? Are the kids' friends being divided, or the shrimp being divided? Hopefully you're separating the shrimp. So it would be 17 is being divided by 6. So even if my question doesn't ask for this specifically, I like to write it so I can see all the different possibilities easier. Ooh, they're trying to trick us here. They put 5. They didn't think we'd see that hidden number. So we know anything with that 5 is not going to work out. There's the inverse. And all right, so let's see if these other ones would work. So I know 17 divided by 6. Okay, that one, we have it. And then this means the 17, because it's in fraction form, 17 divided by 6. What about this one? Where is that one coming from? It's so random. Well, if you do divide this, it would be an improper fraction. I wonder if that would be its mixed number. What would that become? Could 6, and remember, you can divide. Let's do a review one of that. That 6 goes into 17 2 times. That would be a 12. 5 are left over. Okay, so this is our mixed number. We have it 2 and 5, 6. So all 3 of those are a possibility. Okay, so you might not just have to figure out the expression, but you'd have to pick the correct ones as well. All right, you are going to start your practice. Let's see if you can analyze the different questions and what is actually being divided in all of these, and find the answer sometimes, get the labeling right, and getting those expressions accurate and be dividing the correct thing. Okay, good luck. Let's see how you do.